Morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Maggie Wolfendale and Andy Serling on the final day of turf racing in 2023 in New York.
A little sad.
It is a little sad.
Yeah, it always is.
It's more sad because it means winter's about here.
Yeah, exactly.
I do feel like the turf courses at this point get a little bit tricky, and
there's so many horses that
just don't handle it. They don't have a chance. They're trying to come from so far back, and so I mean, as much as we love turf racing, at this point they sort of become crapshoots, and it is what it is. As we move forward, we got a lot to talk about, and
two stakes on them today.
Two stakes on today's card as well. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, use the promo code MATCH200. We will match $200 of your initial deposit. Got that middle pick four that we always do. Races 2, 3, and 6 on today's 9-race card. You're fixated on that slate there. Okay, middle pick four. We also have a 0% exactas. Opt in over at Naira Bets and play exactas and take the takedown from 18. The takeout from 18.5% to 0. Maximum profits of $20. I actually hit this last week. I actually made money on this. Thank you.
Well done.
And where else do we have? The show, 12 to 4:30, covering all the action on today's card. I tell you what, I know it's a smaller field, but there's an awful lot going on in this first race, maiden race, as far as horses that have run, as well as pedigrees in here. And we'll start with value area, and we'll see if this one is favored. I think the horse that I'm guessing you and I both have on top, the 6, will probably be favored.
Yeah.
This horse should have won last time. I mean, I thought she was ridiculously overbet in there, but she blew the break, and she really did run the best race in there. And she's run solid buyer figures, and I'm not knocking her because she should have won last time, Maggie, but, you know, she's still a Todd Pletcher horse that hasn't been able to get it done. But to be fair, this was the only time she was a short price.
And it does feel like a little bit, not necessarily a desperation move, but I always am a little dubious of Todd adding blinkers. And maybe it's
Did the break had something to do with it? I'm just... Probably not. Why would blinkers help a break?
Sometimes they have the opposite effect, is they make them break even slower, especially if you put a big cup on. But I don't foresee them doing that today. It's just that I just thought there were more interesting horses, and if shoplifting, just improved slightly over her lone dirt race, where she was just narrowly beaten by the eventual Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner, then I think she's the most logical, and plus she's in a more comfortable position being from the outside. I know it doesn't appear as though she had speed on the turf last time, but those races I feel like are just run in a faster manner.
Yep.
And if they're not, and I don't think she didn't necessarily handle the turf, I just think she was a cut below on it.
She's a dirt horse.
Exactly.
She can handle the turf because she's got talent. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a horse that just got run down by a horse who not only won the Frizette, she won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. And I agree. I'm not going to get past her in here, but I do want to talk about the firsters.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what there is in the pedigree of Leslie's Rose that she cost $1.15 million, and the other foal, Bo Derek, and who really didn't do much running?
No.
I think she ran twice. She was eased in her second start, never ran again. She cost a lot of money too. Is there somewhere in the second family?
I didn't see it to cost that much. And the Dan's Half to Materiality, who is a multiple grade stakes winner going all in the dirt, as well as My Miss Sophia.
Name Materiality?
What's that?
Materiality was a Klarovich horse that they sold as a 2-year-old.
That they sold, right.
As a 2-year-old, yeah.
Yeah. But, you see pedigrees similar to this, and the horses don't cost this much. Obviously, Into Mischief kind of increases the price tag a little bit, and she must produce Wildwood Rose some good-looking
But this is only the second foal.
Right.
It's a lot of Irad's riding. Listen, I mean, it's interesting. Now, this one stayed up here, didn't go to Florida with Todd, but that doesn't mean that the horse can't be good.
Right.
But a lot of his horses have already gone to Florida, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And two, it's a pedigree that says longer is better, and to debut at 6.5 furlongs, I mean, she does have 2 decent gate breezes coming in here, but at the end of the day, the pedigree says longer is going to be better. She's going to have to do it from that inside post. And look, you have number 5 in here, Woven Red.
She's got a big pedigree.
So, yeah, but to run a mile and a half.
Well, no, Gerrymander was fine. I mean, Gerrymander broke her maiden going 6 furlongs at Saratoga, and she's fine going shorter.
Who's Gerrymander by? Flatter?
No. I can't remember, to be honest. I know it's a Tappet. I still put the horse second. I don't know anything about her. We need to move along or we'll run out of time.
I know. It's my fault. I was late.
No, it's fine.
But this one also have to Lone Rock. That's why I said the mount.
Yeah, I know. But Lone Rock might be the sort of the anomaly in there. Race number 2, you've got Irad Ortiz riding a first-time starter for Jorge Abreu. Do you know the second dam of this horse is? The second dam of this horse has a race name for her.
Oh my gosh, how did I? Ooh.
Down the Dusty Road.
Oh, right.
Archie Brad, who won the La Brea with a 102
right.
Buyer.
Okay.
I mean, either this horse, I'm going to be curious to see how they bet this race. I know one thing. We'll take a look at Foxy Cara running second last time. If she wins, I'm going to lose.
Haven't you just had enough of her?
Yeah.
I remember when we both picked her reluctantly on top in that first off the turf race at Saratoga.
She ran well that day.
And yeah, she was so bad. So bad. And so, actually, beaten by a horse that I'm a little interested in the last.
Who's that?
Sail the Wind. Sail with the
Yeah,
Wind.
I'm not sure we'll get to that, obviously.
I just can't warm up to her. She beats me today, fine.
Right,
Have her, but there's way more interesting horses
Isn't
in
the
here
one
that are
going to be
less
favored just
exposed.
because Irad is riding?
Absolutely, you would have to think so. And Jorge Abreu was just so effective when it comes to his first-time starters.
So talk about Monetary Monarch, who we both picked.
I knew we'd land on this one. So she just was so sloppy at the start of the race. And now she gets to draw outside, so she has the experience. She was incredibly green from the kickback early on, and then she was green down the stretch too. She didn't switch leads. She just kind of, I'm a little bit lost, but she was doing some running. She
agree.
was finishing
Broke a
without
length and a
doing
half
it
to 2 lengths slow
professionally.
in there. I agree.
And so now she gets Lasix. Now the blinker's on. Maybe they're tossing a little bit too much at her, to be fair. But she's come back with some, more serious breezes since then. It just feels like we're going to deal with a much more professional filly who did show an ounce of ability in that debut in what is not a very strong race today.
Well, that's the thing. There was nowhere else I wanted to go, and I'm not going to go to a firster just because Irad's riding it, though there obviously is a little bit of pedigree there. Race number 3 as we move on. There's a horse in race number 3 that I believe if he shows up, this race is over. I thought Bendu was a very likely winner. He actually ran pretty well.
He really did.
In the Dubai World Cup, a race pace that collapsed he was on. I think he wants less distance, and I know he's a heavy favorite in the morning line. I'm not trying to beat him. I'm wondering about a horse that are going to take money, like aggregation. We'll take a look at aggregation last. I don't like this horse at all. I thought there was an edge to speed and the inside, and just had, as you say, the run of the race. And
because there was nobody else in here that had speed like he did.
Yeah.
And he was putting blinkers on that day. So it felt like you were supposed to have him last time at, 6-1, which you don't often get with a Chad Brown horse. So if you're going to take a short price in what is a tougher field today, then it's just silly.
I don't like this horse at all. I think that Ray handled both of his horses likely better, and we can go right to the replay on Daddy Knows. And this is one where...
it's so hard to trust them.
Well, the pace projector has aggregation clearly loose from him. I don't see how Katie Davis is going to let aggregation get away from Daddy Knows. And this is his last race on June 11th. He's back. He's good, and he's game. I love this horse. And he draws well towards the outsides. He wants to be outside of horses.
I don't love him like you do because he's always getting out.
That's who he is.
I know. And he's run fast in his last 2 races where Katie, is kind of nursing him along and willing him to do so. And yeah, because you can't really take a hold of him, furthermore, as you're not supposed to with horses who want to get out. So yeah, I agree with you that he is not allowing aggregation to get too far away from him. I thought that Ray's other horse, third off the layoff, number 3 from Another Mother, projected to get the right trip. And
really?
Yeah.
Think there's going to be much pace in this race?
I thought there was going to be enough where he would just sit right behind the 2 and his stablemate in here.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't agree, but that's fine. The horse ran. Listen, he ran his best race last time. My problem
I feel like
is,
ever since the layoff, he's become a different horse. He's become better.
Right. I hear you. I've got him third. He's not impossible. He ran his best race last time, but you have to ask yourself: is he ready to take another step forward off his best career effort?
Okay.
And I'm not ready to take a chance on that. I'm not. Listen, I've got him third. I don't think he's impossible in here, and I'm picking a 4 to 5 morning line, so I'm not doing anything clever. I want From Another Mother to show me he's really turned around because he spent the rest of his life not being good enough to win a race like this. Not even remotely good enough. That's what worries me.
Agreed, but he also must have showed them that he was, because they did try some greatest stakes with him early on.
I understand. I get it. I'm just, yes, Ray loved this horse from the start. This is a horse. He got run down by what's his name? Mo Donegal.
Yeah.
Right, Mo Donegal in the maiden race, going a mile and 16. So he ran some good races early. He's right. We'll see. See if we can get back to it. Race number 4. the last time the New York Red Maidens will get to run on the turf before we go to the winter, and we'll take a look at, and I didn't include Better Lucky Than Good, runs second, slap in the face, runs third,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot.
Domination runs fourth. I should have put Domination in there as well. Maggie, I'm going to assume that one of these three horses is going to win. I went back to Slap in the Face because he was a little wider than Better Lucky Than Good. And at the end of the day, he has that very good race 2 races back. And if he can get back to that one, not this one, I thought he was going to win. But I don't have a strong preference for any of these three.
He's such a grinder. Manny
fair.
was, driving on him in the middle of the turn, and I just felt as though taking a short price on a horse that I don't love. Haven't loved in the paddock, but Slap in the Face can certainly win. And then Better Lucky Than Good, I agree with you. He kind of had a better trip for the most part, around the track. But isn't he going to be a shorter price today than he was last
David
time?
has him a shorter price. I'm beginning to wonder if the 9's going to be the favorite because everybody seems to like the 9 in your Domination.
I just thought he looked like the odd Todd Pletcher horse that needed a race, and he ran like it too.
Yeah.
But he showed that there was something in there. He was just very sloppy and slow in the beginning, and I think you're going to see him just clued in a bit more today.
Yeah, I don't really have. I feel like one of the orders is going to win. I don't love the 9. I agree with everything you said. I do think he's okay, and I don't really like anybody else. I thought the Tony O ran with Cheaper last time, has some race to go back to, but I don't think anyone. I mean, the 5 Kentucky 31 is going to take money because Irad's riding the horse, and I found terrible stats for Todd Pletcher stretching out maiden, second time starting maiden, stretching out. It's just 4 for 57. It's just not a good number for him. And of the 2 Todds, the other one just seems like a way more likely to win.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think they'll go for this one a little bit simply because Irad's riding, and I don't think it really is going to matter in here.
Yep.
I've got nothing else clever to say about this
No,
race.
because it feels like the other ones are a little bit cheaper, and I just thought there was more upside with the Domination, or the most upside, I should say.
So the next race is at Central Park, and it came up a super race, but I think it came up an extremely difficult race to handicap.
Wow, and we landed on the exact same form.
I was going to go 11-7. To be honest, one of the reasons I put the 7 out, the 7 on top was I thought it'd be a bigger price, but also because he's more inside. It's funny. I don't know. I have the same 3-4 horses here, but we'll start out with Spirit Prince running second, and with Blue Prince running third. I will say one thing with Spirit Prince. I'm a little sick of this horse, and
Correct.
I think everybody is. But
doesn't it feel like he's had his opportunities?
It does, except he really did move too soon last time.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming Dylan. I think, he didn't think there was that much behind him, and the horse that beat him hadn't run well in its first start, did improve a lot. But also, this was a very fast pace, set off by a runoff horse.
Right.
And at the end of the day, and I'm not beating up on Dylan. I think it's an easy in retrospect to say it. I don't think he did anything wrong in the race. In retrospect, he moved too soon. He went after a hopeless leader, and he went after him too hard and too soon. He got beaten. But
he did.
Having said that, he's also hit 4 of the money finishes at short prices, but 3 of them are stakes. And he's still pretty good.
No, he is pretty good. My problem is that, yes, I agree with what you're saying. I'm still, and I know like Chad Brown has high hopes for the winner of that race, I'm still a little dubious of the quality of that field. I thought there was way more interesting horses in here.
I didn't know that he likes Move to Gold. He's a big fan. I didn't know.
Well,
I
not
never
a
talked to
big
him about
fan.
it.
He just thought he was a horse that would steadily improve.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to him, I remember before he ran, he's a horse who had a monster trip in his debut at Kentucky Downs in a garbage race.
That
was
you and I
the
discussed it,
Yeah,
and
was
we
the
were like,
problem with him.
I don't know how to,
And Kentucky Downs,
quantify this horse.
there's no way to quantify him. Now, the horse is going to take a lot of money in here is Uncle Truly. And I end up having a fourth. Frankly, I could have put Typhoon Fury fourth. I don't really like this horse, and I want to bet against him.
I like the way that he looked visually. And Jonathan Thomas said it, in the stakes advance. He's a very good mover, so he's appealing to the eye. But a lot of times you get sucked in with these horses because they're beating absolutely no one. And for me, that was kind of where he stacked up. I felt like this was a very weak field. That's the favorite that he's blowing by that I thought maybe was a little bit overly confidently handled. But
this is one thing I looked at. They don't come back that often if they're maiden wins. And I'm going to tell you something else about this horse that I don't like. They shipped up to Woodbine to run in Lasix.
Exactly. I saw that too.
Because the
I thought about that too.
two-year-olds can't run with one Lasix in the United States, and they got Lasix going up to Woodbine in this horse, and he's not getting Lasix today, and that bothered me a little bit. As far as Wally World, you know, I don't know. Who knows? I find this a very hard race to read who's going to get bet. Now, here's Wally World's last race, and I don't know who he beat, but I thought he beat him pretty impressively.
Yeah, I'm not totally giving up on this field that he beat. And I agree with you. He was the first one to move. And I like the fact that he is tactical. You know, he's going to put himself in a winning position. And as you mentioned before we even started talking about the races, when it comes to turf at this point in the season, it is a little difficult to make up ground, which I have taken horses that I'm hoping will do so. But
well,
with
this
this guy, I didn't.
Slow.
This guy, I didn't. And two, I just like him. And I know for a Chad Brown horse, he has not taken that much money in either of his efforts, but
They liked him first time. He was awful, but they liked him.
Well, he did have trouble in the lane. Not that he was really doing that much money.
Wasn't going anywhere at that point.
Yeah.
He was one exchanging bumps with Jackie Davis. Was it Jackie?
No, Katie.
Was Katie? Mm-hmm. Okay. Was Katie? Okay.
Yeah. And I just thought there was such a marked improvement in the way this horse looked, the way that he acted prior to the race, and then, you know, subsequently in the race with those blinkers on. I think he is a nice horse. But Buffoon, I saw he arguably ran the best race of anyone last time, given the trip he had.
Well, I guess. I don't know. It was a weird race. We'll take a look at it. I worry about him getting position with Dylan from the outside.
Well, that's the problem
That's
with it,
what
right?
I worried about.
Yeah.
I felt more confident the 7 would have better position. I could be wrong.
He overcame it this day, though. He was 14 of 14, wasn't he?
Well, no, he was 11. But Joel was very aggressive getting position. Mm-hmm. And we'll see. Is Dylan going to be as aggressive getting position? It's a funny race because it never really looked like he was running that much, and he just sort of ground away from all of them and ran a fast enough race. And
I will say that, yeah, there was no explosive turn of foot, and he was up close to a pace where the horses that finished 2-3 behind him were way further back. Granted, he was chasing 2 long shots around there, so you know probably they were going to finish well back anyway, but they really finished far behind him as the pace kind of evaporated as they hit the head of the lane. So, yeah, it's just, he just draws far less favorably.
Yeah, no, you know, and they all come in one slot. I think he's very dangerous, and I love his name. So, I didn't love Frontline Warrior of the Maiden Breakers. I thought he got an absolute dream trip to win last time out.
There were 2 next time out winners, though one
in the dirt.
And one regressed, and one went on the dirt.
Right, one ran 1 wire point slower at 6-5, and the other one won in the dirt. So I'm not overly interested in that. Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a super fun race, and a lot of horses could win in here. We'll see what happens in race number 5. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the late pick 4.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Maggie Wolfendale and Andy Serling talking horses. We are back for race number 6. And you just couldn't help yourself. You saw Irad Ortiz riding for Phil Antonacci, and you figured, I can't resist.
Yeah. Well, it has the best pedigree, too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not. I picked horse 3rd.
You put Mel on top. All right.
I love this horse today, but go ahead.
Okay, so the Dam was a multiple stakes winner, greatest stakes winner. She won my favorite race of all time, the Miss Preakness Stakes.
Yes, she did. I don't know if you know, Maggie is Miss Preakness.
Got to present the trophy that year. But the sibling wasn't much, but was a winner. And I know the price is going to be brutalized with IRAD riding
That's
for
the
Phil
thing.
here. But it's not like any of these trainers with the first-time starters have enormous stats or really positive stats, so you couldn't really lean that way. And the horses who have run, Snarky comes out. There was a slight chance she could have wired, but she's really just not that good at all. And Mel's baby sister, I
We'll
see
get
what
to
you're
her.
seeing.
What-
And then there's Leah's horse, Brooklyn Dance. As of late, Leah's numbers aren't great with firsters, but we all know she can win with first-time starters.
Yeah, the Todd horse, the high track, there is some pedigree on the dam
high
side,
tail.
but $15,000 for a high tail. I'm not excited. As far as Mel's baby sister, I actually thought this horse ran a little bit first time out in a very tough field, broke a length and a half to 2 lengths slow, was lugging in, thought really would benefit from that race. And listen, the 2 horses that came out of that race that ran the other day, Money Grab came back and improved 21 buyer points. Pat Reynolds' horse who finished second improved 34 buyer points out of that race. We do think the Dolomite might be pretty good, so that might be a much liver race than that 27 buyer looks, and I thought a horse would really benefit from a race picking up Dylan, so I like Mel's baby sister. I'm just going to go with horses with experience more than anything else.
You know what was weird with High Track is that Calumet originally owned
High-
the dam.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Must have and had the first foal or something. I think it was the first foal, and then sold her, and then bought this one back.
For 15,000.
Yeah.
Hightail standing for 5,000. Who trained Hightail? That
7,500.
wasn't Tom, was it? Amos.
Ooh, I can't remember.
I think so. Might have been. I remember him running in Saratoga in the 2-year-old stakes. Race number 7 is the Forever Together, the last turf stake of the meet. A lot of laughs when we come to turf with Forever Together. As we move on to race 7, I do not like this horse at all, Regal Realm. In fact, I'm thinking of bringing the dunce cap. I have the dunce cap. Eric rescued it from my office at Belmont.
It was Wayne Lucas, by the way.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Hightail. This horse is a phonied up by a gold rail last time, able to absolutely crawl along on the lead, and I don't like this horse at all.
The upside I can say with her is that I don't think she needs the lead to win.
Good, because she's not getting it.
Right. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you trust her, but she's one I've liked physically. So I do kind of. I don't
It's
not
fine.
like her.
I don't like her. I don't think she's as good as these horses, and I really want to see it. I think she's going to get overbet.
Oh God, we both have the same silly horse.
So why do you like Malavas?
What does it feels like she's finally going to get the pace she needs, and she's just been facing way better horses throughout her entire career than what
She's been awful, though.
She has been awful. Yeah, you're taking her rolling the dice today, absolutely. But those were pretty slow paces in
Right,
those
but she was
races.
close to the 1-2 back, and she just
Yeah.
went the wrong direction.
Well,
so she's clearly.
something must have happened.
Yeah, and I mean, you say about the pace, I don't think it's going to be a particularly strong pace in here. And also, I'm a little worried about the way the track's going to play against. Now, listen, I think Faith and Humanity is going to be about 2-1 or 5-2 in this race. If somebody could guarantee me the morning lines, I would make a gigantic bet on Faith and Humanity in here at 5-1. I think she's going to be closer to 2-1. She is the controlling speed. Now, I know, we'll talk about her last race in a second, but it's no horse that's beating Gina Romantica, and she was terrific at all 4 of her first starts. Then something happened, she came back, but she also came back in a race that featured a very quick pace that completely and totally collapsed. And Joelle eased her late. I don't know what went wrong in there, but she's a better horse, and I can't imagine she'd be running back if they didn't think she was doing well, and I just think she's going to wire this field in all likelihood. And frankly, if I had looked at that morning line and I thought there was a chance that it would hold up, I would absolutely have switched my picks. And David's usually right about these things, but I will be absolutely shocked if she's more than half of his morning line price. And I don't believe there's any chance that she will be a bigger price than Chili Flag. I know Irad's riding Chili Flag, and I'll probably be wrong. I criticized
Chili
his
Flag
line
just seems slow.
in yesterday's turf stake, that interpretation one. He's very good, and I was wrong, and he was right. But I think he's dead wrong about Faith and Humanity. Everyone's going to see that this horse is completely loose. You just don't think she can run anymore?
Yeah,
okay.
no, I see what you're saying. She was she was very headstrong early, and then she started getting out pretty badly. But I've seen horses with Chad, and he can't find anything wrong, and he enters them back, relatively quickly for how bad their performance was, and they do run far better. But I don't want to trust her at a short
It's hard to
price.
forgive Chili Flag's last race because she lost it to Cass. But if she runs back to a race two and three back, particularly two back, and either one of them, she can win this race. And I know they bet the IRADs, but I can't believe they're going to take her over the stake-winning
and I feel
Faith
like-
in Humanity is the speed.
At the end of the day, I feel like Regal Round, Faith in Humanity, and Malavath have just faced better horses.
What about Amia, the Graham Motion
Oh,
horse
her
coming
too.
in?
She's okay.
They're
I
okay.
mean,
She doesn't make any killers.
No,
But she ran against
I'm
American
a-
Sonia. Well, she did beat American Sonia, and for people to forget, American Sonia was second in the Saratoga Oaks in the bog up in Saratoga.
that's right. I actually kind of did forget
Right,
about
behind that nice horse who ran the Breeders' Cup.
And look, the horse that beat her two back came back and won a Group 2.
Yep.
So yeah, she has every right. I looked at Graham's numbers; they're okay.
His numbers with Europeans have gone down. He used to be great with foreign
Great,
shippers,
yeah.
and they've dropped. He's not getting the same quality foreign shippers because I remember when Main Sequence was around, and that was a long time ago. He had tremendous numbers with his European shippers. Now he's just 9 for 63 over the last
Right.
5 years with a $1.14 ROI in turf routes. But still, I'm not going to dismiss this horse.
No, I have her in the mix.
See what happens in the Forever Together, the 8th race. I'm sure we picked the same horse in race number 8 because everybody in the planet's picked this horse. Talk about Cupid's Girl. She'll be about 7 to 5 in here. I'm exaggerating, but she won't be 9 to 2, and I'm sure David knows that at this point because everybody has picked this horse, and I mean everybody.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, she's coming off two pretty bad efforts, to be fair, but you could make every argument in the world that those were against better horses and against better horses for a while now that she's been running against. And two, it feels like there are several horses in here that need the lead to be successful, and
Like
she's the
Willful
one
Desire.
What's that?
Like Willful Desire.
Right, and
in
she
particular.
feels like the one that's going to capitalize on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought there would be some pace in this race. I thought she's dropping into appropriate spot. Certainly happy to see Jose Lescano riding. And I just don't know where else you're supposed to go in this race.
no,
I was
I know.
trying, I don't like Burn Rosie
I
Burn
was
at all. in
praying
here.
nobody scratched because I was like, outside of these four, I have no. And You Should Be Dancing is a turf horse.
She can't run in the dirt
Right.
at all. Try It Again interests me a little bit.
Little
She
bit.
was atrocious last time. She was down on the inside in that race.
She got really discouraged
But
down there.
and he eased during the last eighth of a mile when she was hopelessly beaten. So she
Yeah.
probably would have lost by 12 lengths or something.
Right.
But I'm a little worried about that. But she was the other one that I kind of wanted along with the one. But we all like Cupid's Girl, who's the obvious one to take. She's got back races would smash these. The question is whether or not she can get back to them.
Yeah.
And the last turf race of the year, race number 9, where we're also going to pick the same horse. I don't even have to look. I'm sure you're going to pick the same horse as me. Right. But we'll start with the horse to beat in here, and that's the number 7, Can't Fool Me. And maybe this race, her last turf race, Saratoga, was the last time was the time horse, and she got a decent pace to run at, but I thought she ran fine. She's very logical, and Horacio's horses, Horacio de Paz, have
Running
been
out.
running extremely
Yeah.
well. He had a funny Saratoga meet. I was sort of kidding around with him at the end of the meet.
Well, he kept finishing second.
I said, you finally won a race, and I said, you've had a brutal meet, you finally won a race, and I said, things are going to turn around, and they have. It doesn't matter to him. The only thing he cares about in any given race he's in is that he finishes ahead of Christophe Clement. I think she's the one to beat.
Yeah. I would have put the 12 on top if she would have drawn better.
Well, talk about her.
I mean, this is a filly. Now, there isn't much immediate pedigree on the bottom side, but it is a lemon drop kid mare out of by a stern. And, I mean, what chance did she have? It was during that deluge where overacting, she was acting up the entire time.
Nobody closed in that race.
And Javi was just like, you know what? I'm just going to let her go. And let her go he did, and she wired the field that day. And two, Manny almost fell off of sail with the wind going into the first turn. It was that rough.
Well, she
of
broke
a
a
go.
good length and a half slow in the race to begin
Exactly. And now, she comes back, she breaks her maiden in an off the turf event, so they've been trying to try her on the dirt. But I can't ignore that pedigree getting back to this surface.
I agree. My problem with her is, and I have her fourth, is her last race was horrendous. And I know it was against, it was against her. She was wide, and the rail was good that day, so she had a bit of an excuse. But it did bother me a little bit. But I agree. I think she's a little bit interesting in here. I think the number 3 is a little interesting. Disruption, trying the turf. She has enough pedigree to suggest she can handle it. She's not a good horse, but maybe she'll be better on the surface. And maybe this is one horse with IRAD for Chad that won't be a particularly short price because she just doesn't. She's not very good.
And at least she also projects to be forward in here too. You would have to think. Lady
of Thornton. We'll show the start of her last race. There's an argument that she probably
could have won.
should have won this race. I mean, she breaks a good 5-6 lengths.
Frank doesn't even see it. Frank goes, and they all broke and even in line, and then he waits the beat and he goes, "Ooh, except for Lady of Thornton."
I teased him about it, actually. he didn't have many of those moments. But,
no, I just thought it was funny.
I tell you one thing that worries me a little bit about her. Eric has thrown the anchor down on her when he's ridden her. He needs to not, assuming she breaks. I know she doesn't have much speed, but one of the things he did wrong with her, and one of the reasons I liked her when Katie took over, is that she was at least a little bit more. You can't fall.
She's a funny actor with her mouth too. You just kind of bury your hands. And Eric is, he hasn't done it as much since coming back.
I feel like very well since he's come back.
Yeah. You just kind of got to let her break and be very quiet.
She's tricky,
with her.
and she may not have a running style that really fits this course because she just comes from
also
so far
true.
back.
Right.
And that concerns me. Now, she does have the 2-post, so she should be saving ground. With the rails down, I think that's going to matter to stay on the rail as long as possible. But I do worry. But I also thought there should be at least some pace in this race.
Listen, Super's Lucky Lady.
My friend Nick Tamaro thinks that Super's Lucky Lady is going to wire the field. I think he's nuts, but
doesn't Spooky Lady apply some pressure?
You would think that Spooky Lady would be aggressive. That's what I said to him, and I don't think Disruption is going to be that far behind.
Right.
But we'll see how it plays out. We're going to go.
Okay.
You
okay?
Yeah, I got a little bit of a throat thing that's been annoying me for the last couple of days. I don't know.
Same.
Yeah, and you know what? This getting up at 8 in the morning is not for me. I know you get up at 4 in the morning, but it's just not for me.
I was awake before my alarm at like 5:15.
I was designed for like 10:30. Well, I woke up. I went to sleep at like 12:30, and I woke up at 2:30 for an hour and a half. I couldn't get back to sleep.
What do you do? Do you read when you do that?
Yeah, I read sometimes. I look at PPs if I have races to handicap. Sometimes in Saratoga, I send in replays in the middle of the night a lot. In Saratoga, when I wake up and I can't fall asleep, I always just do work because any opportunity to do some work up there. But I read or I watch some West Wing because West Wing is like crack to me. I just love West Wing. It is the smartest TV show ever. Okay. You probably ever watch it?
I've watched when it first came
great
out.
Show.
I think.
It's one of my great regrets in life. My dad loved it, and I never watched it when it was first on. And my dad loved it, and now I watch it, and I think I should have watched it with my dad. Anyhow, head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code MATCH200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have a middle pick 4. You probably know about these things. Races 2, 3, and 6 in our 9-race card. 0% takeout in the exactas at Naira Bets if you opt in for your first $20 worth. Playing exactas here at Aqueduct on Sundays. And we're on from 12 to 4:30 covering all the races. Maggie will be on from 1 to 3. I will be on 2:30 to 4:30. Mig's here, Greg's here, Keisha's here. The gang's all here. Not for much longer will all the gang be here, but they are here now. We are done. Chris Griffin's just getting started. He'll be up next to reprise the Scratch and Changes. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Hello,